everyone, and welcome back to the HCW YouTube channel. My name is Rate Wrestle, and we're back with another UK indie show review, and we are doing Kamikaze Pro Live 38, and we are joined by Will Stevens. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you, Ray. Let's break down these matches.
Yeah, it's looking like a good card. So as I said to yourself, obviously we'll discuss the main event last, but we'll do your match second to last. So we'll
Okay.
build up to your own fun time there. So we'll start off because I've only just added the notes as we were speaking prior to this because it got announced last night. We've got a rematch, which is not common in Kamikaze live shows. We've got the rematch of JC versus Luke Douglas.
Yeah, I think rematches are becoming slightly more common. I know a couple back we did have Kieran McQueen and Luke Douglas going again,
Mm,
and Luke's in this odd position at the moment because he needs to get some sort of upward momentum. He needs to get some sort of momentum going, but there's very few people on the Kamikaze Pro Live roster that he hasn't faced before,
yeah,
and
exactly.
most of those people are they tend to be on the rule breaker side. So is he going to take that risk of being shown up by someone like, I'm not going to say myself because Luke would kick my head off. I've got too much respect for him. But is he going to take that chance of being embarrassed by somebody when he can? I don't want to say tread water, but he can maintain his spot. He
Yeah,
can maintain his spot against hungry baby faces who are anxious to get their wins back. Because last time Luke faced JC, he beat the bejesus out of him. He beat the
yeah.
crap out of him.
This was after obviously he lost to Maximus Okoro, where he went into his own ego and Maximus rolled him
Yeah,
up, and then he took it out on JC and continuously kicked the man in the face.
I I feel like that's been sort of a theme in Luke Douglas's most recent matches, where he has to balance how lightly he's taking a lot of these newer guys that he's facing. He easily had the tools to have Coach Mahan beat maybe 3 or 4 minutes before he actually did
Yeah,
at Pro Life 37. But Alexa Daisy could cover, he let Mahan in, and Mahan was able to get a couple of really close near falls. So I think if Luke's on and Luke's focused, there's very few on the roster that can even touch him.
yeah, exactly. But it is going to be a tough opponent because obviously JC, that was his, I believe it was his first match.
Yes,
So now, obviously, he's fought people like Connors. He just lost to Kieran at the last show, so he's got a bit more experience. So I don't think he's going to allow Luke to be as dominant as he was.
he's even getting better at cheating. Remember, he beat me after he low blowed me,
Yeah, we need to
and
discuss
I
this.
do appreciate you not bringing that up.
Yep.
Uh, he is getting better.
Yep.
JC is getting better. He's learning how to use his size more. He's getting braver in the moves he attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Bit more
I
fluid.
think
Yeah.
I think if JC grows his confidence a bit more, he's capable of very special things.
Yeah. Like JC is he's getting there. There's no bias on this show, as you mentioned. You watch the shows. There's no bias towards Luke Douglas. So, but I think Luke will win. I'd like to think Luke could win.
I want Luke to win. I want Luke to win this because myself and JC are 1-1.
hmm
I lost to him in a singles and beat him in a tag.
Yeah.
So I would like Luke to win. I'd like that rivalry to get put to bed so I can get round to JC and finish him off myself. Uh, that being said, no, I think Luke Douglas will win. I think he's got more tools. Obviously, he's got more experience.
hmm
Uh, JC maybe give him a year, and I think it'd be a different story. But I think tomorrow on Friday, JC's winning.
But yeah.
No,
Oh,
he's not.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so tired. No, Luke Douglas over JC.
Yeah. But
So
unless
sorry.
he kicks a man in the dick. No, if he cheats,
You coming on Friday?
I am.
Yeah, less of that then.
I'm on your side. Did the match get restarted?
No.
Did Cole
It's
clearly see it?
shoddy general manager.
Yep.
Shoddy general
He
manager.
clearly saw it, but he decides when he wants to restart matches when he feels like it. Let's move on. Um, so we'll move on to a. We might as well go there. A big match for Kamikaze Pro Live. We've got man like Darius, the Kamikaze Pro main champion, versus the real world champion, clearly stated, Alex Connors. Um, this is a massive match for Kamikaze Pro Live.
Yes, definitely. This is a massive match for Alex as well.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Connors is, I think it's an insult to call him most improved because in all the time I've known him, I've always known him as good.
Yeah.
But Alex Connors is, he's at the top of his game at the minute. And I was talking to him about this maybe last week. I think he feels like Darius doesn't always bring his A game to the Kamikaze Pro Live shows. I think maybe he feels like Darius feels the Kamikaze Pro Live shows aren't beneath him, but are
He's
they're
got
more a
bigger
cup
fish to
tie
fry,
against a
yeah.
lower league team as
Yeah.
opposed to a league game.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there's a really good chance for Alex to make a big statement.
Yeah, and he's got Alex. Since like I've been seeing, he's been adding to his arsenal. Like some of the moves are devastating. He's bringing out now. He did lose to the Ring Gremlin last show, but though we can throw that to once again Cole trying to screw Alex Connors, and just the general roster. And man like the Reese was back in August. He beat Ronnie G, and he's 5-0 on Kamikaze Pro Live, which you would expect
Yeah.
from the Kamikaze Pro champion. And Alex is 4-3 at the moment. And a weird thing which you probably would know this. This is obviously their first time encountering Kamikaze, but they have fought once before. At CPW in 2018, where man like the Reese did beat Alex at that point, and that was like 5 years ago.
Mm. The thing is, Alex Connors. You look at him
Yeah.
physically. You speak to him. He's a much different person from then.
Mm.
And you talk about his arsenal. His arsenal is ridiculously deep.
Yeah.
He can do any style. Man like Darius, I think he relies on a lot of explosive athleticism, a lot of fast offense. Whereas if Alex can ground Darius and impose his will that way, I think he's got more tools. That being said, I think maybe what happened at, was it Pro Live 36?
It would be, yeah. It was August, I believe, yeah. So, yeah.
What happened in August and losing to Ring Gremlin last month and this issue he's got with Carl Robinson at the minute, I question whether Alex's mind is clear enough to pull off the upset on Darius, which I don't think it's disrespectful to say that would be an upset.
Yeah, well, if you're defeating not the live champion, but the actual Kamikaze Pro champion of the main roster, that would be a big upset if
Yeah.
you're not really on the main shows at the moment. Um, I probably would be in the same camp as you. I think Alex has got a lot going on. He's on a bit of a losing streak, as you said. Carl, even though he's saying he isn't, he's got a vendetta against Alex Connors. Um, and I feel like I think Alex can be more worried about what Carl is doing than facing man like the Reese, which is not a good thing to be. So yeah, I'd probably go with man like the Reese.
Well, if Alex thinks that even if he was to have Darius dead to rights, he still won't get it because of a dodgy officiating
Yeah,
decision, or if he thinks the world's out to get him, I think that's only going to make things harder for him. If he can just if he can boil that away, boil that off, and concentrate on his own skill set and implement his own skill set, he's got a great chance. But right now, I think the waters are a little bit too muddied for Alex Connors.
yeah. So yeah, man like the Reese, we're going for with that one. Next up, we've got a kind of a bit of rivalry building. So we've got Samuel Hughes, who defeated Sonny Noss at the last show, versus Nate Riley, who basically Samuel Hughes decided to attack Sonny after the match because Sonny showed him a slight bit of disrespect using a bicycle, and then he just took out his frustrations on Sonny. And then Nate came to the rescue and absolutely obliterated Sam. I'll be honest.
At first, I was surprised that Samuel felt the need to do that.
Mm,
He'd got the win. He'd beaten Sonny. He'd embarrassed him by deceiving him with the fake injury,
yeah.
and he'd he'd done it. He'd done what he needed to do, but he obviously felt he needed to make more of a statement physically, assert his dominance. Interesting little tidbit. Samuel Hughes and Nate Riley were in a match together. They were in a five-way match this
Oh,
Saturday gone, and they touched briefly. They fought briefly, and Sam was concentrating on Nate's shoulder.
which is a smart tactic.
Yeah, Nate Riley coming off a dislocated shoulder, and Sam made no bones about going straight after the shoulder.
That's what you have to be like as a wrestler, though. You don't respect someone's injured.
It's similar to Pro Life 37 with Edgar coming in with the tape on his
Yeah.
shoulder. Uh, Nate Riley is using kinesio tape. He is using kinesio tape to keep that shoulder stable. He's using that tape in training and in matches. So if he still feels the need for that tape, it's obviously not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm a massive fan of how Samuel Hughes has improved. He's always been someone I've enjoyed training with. He's always been someone I've enjoyed wrestling. But I'm really, really pleased that he's taken it up a level, which he'll need to against Nate Riley, because Nate Riley seemingly can do everything. He can throw hard strikes, he can grapple, and it's so unfair because he can fly as well.
Yeah, going by the
Uh,
Skywalker, you'd expect it.
the the one area that Sam will have the advantage is experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this new version of Samuel Hughes, Redhead Rascal, this new, slightly more cerebral, slightly more spiteful version of Samuel Hughes, I don't think he'll have any any issue taking advantage of any weakness Nate presents to him.
Yeah, this is the best version of Samuel Hughes since he's attacking of Hassan, going against the rules. He's picked up continuous wins. He's looked better in the ring. He's been more aggressive, and I think he's come out of his shell, which is as a
He
bad guy.
has. He has.
Yeah,
He's become he's embraced a universal truth that it's a lot easier to get people to dislike you than it is to get people to like you. And he's embraced that and he's feeding off it. And the things he's doing physically, he's doing them better than he's ever done them before.
yeah,
His knees are better, his forearm strikes are better. He's a lot stronger than people might give him credit for being. Samuel Hughes is strong. And if he can grab a hold of Nate Riley, throw him around a bit, and dictate the pace, I think if he lets Nate Riley start going, he's gonna have a hard time stopping that boulder rolling down the hill.
yeah.
But if he can ground Nate Riley and do it on his time, you know what? I'm predicting Samuel Hughes for this one. I'm
Yeah.
predicting Samuel Hughes, and something we don't see often either. I think Samuel Hughes by submission.
Ooh. I probably would go with Sam Hughes as well, because Sam is the kind of guy that will watch matches back. Nate last fought and Pro Live 34, so he hasn't been around for about 4 shows or so.
Yeah,
And the last person to beat him was Kay Jutler. And Kay let Nate dictate the pace at the start of being just really explosive, but as soon as he grounded him, Nate was kind of done, and I feel like Sam can do that to Nate now. Previous Sam, I don't think he could have, but nowadays I feel like Sam could do that.
I think if Sam watches that match as a blueprint of how to beat Nate Riley, I I think it's possible. I think all respect to Nate Riley. I think he's one of the most talented people I've been around for his experience level.
Yeah.
He's ridiculously talented. But I think Samuel Hughes for this one.
And I may be wrong here. I've wrote it here. I don't think Nate has picked up a win yet. That's what I'm trying to. Because I've got him as 0 as 5 here. He lost to George, definitely. He's lost to
What's
Kay.
George?
He's lost. Did he fight Luke?
Yes, that was at Stetchford.
Yeah, so he's lost to Luke. I'm sure he fought Connors as well, wasn't he?
Yes,
So that's
that might have
4.
been his first or second.
Yeah, so I don't think he's actually picked up a win. Just looking at, and does he fought man like the Reese? I feel like that's another person he may have fought. George Lydon. I'm just going to cage matches, my friend, right now. I'm just quickly skimming through. Yeah, man like the Reese. Yeah, 5-0. He hasn't picked up a win,
Well,
which is a
that's
surprise, isn't
interesting.
it?
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't carry himself as a guy on a 5 match losing streak.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He has fought, like, if you mention the 5 people, Alex Connors, Luke Douglas, man like the Reese, George Lydon, they are 4
Yeah,
like.
he's fought the top level. He's
Yeah.
fought the top level. Uh, you're not going to change my mind. You're not going to change
No.
my mind. I still think Samuel
Yeah,
Hughes.
I think Samuel Hughes and he's going to be unfortunately 6-0. The streak continues. Um, and then before we get towards your match, we've got one final match, which is a match between Kieran McQueen and Sonny Noss, which I'm very looking forward to. Kieran's on a
Yes,
roll.
I've never seen Kieran McQueen this confident at Kamikaze Pro live shows. He's turning up now with a sense of. I feel like for the first time in all my time knowing Kieran McQueen, I feel like he knows what he's going to do before he does it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Kieran McQueen's matches, I feel like he's not going in with a strategy, he's just doing, which in some ways can work. But now I think he is trying to implement a certain style. I think he's realized that you do need to branch out and you do need to look at other techniques and train in other places to improve.
Yeah.
And to that end, he's been splitting his training between Kamikaze Pro and Pursuit in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And he's coming back and he's showing other people things, which is something I've never really known from Kieran. Kieran's strikes are improving. He's becoming more sound. I feel like he's becoming more aggressive as well, which is something I think Kieran's always. I think always is a little bit disrespectful, but I think it's something he has struggled with previously.
He was very respectful originally. Like, he's still respectful now, but he was very much like handshakes and like
Yeah,
Whereas now he'll just kick you in the chest. He's put on a bit of timber as well, but like
yeah.
yeah,
He's never he's always been wiry. He's always
mm-hmm,
been wiry, but I feel like he's taking his diet a lot more seriously. He's looking at things a lot more scientifically, and he has managed to gain some muscle. He's managed to gain some strength. Sonny Noss is going to be a very difficult match for him though, because honestly, how do you predict what he's going to do?
yeah. Sonny Noss
How do
first
you
time.
predict that?
Yeah, first time I saw him was at Kamikaze. He has fought a few times outside of Kamikaze, but the man used a bicycle.
I've never seen that before at a live pro wrestling show. Have you?
Yeah, not live. I've seen it like the person who is it what's his name? Oh, the DDT guy, Sahiro Taguchi. I can't remember his name. The promoter of DDT, I think it is. He loves a good bike, but I've never seen it live, and I've never seen someone take a clothesline.
Well, speaking to Sonny Noss training, I know that's a style he's very
Rock
he's
style.
very fond of. He does like that absurd DDT
Yeah.
style. Uh, he is trying. He told me himself he's trying to catch their attention with the things he's doing. So I'm sure he'll take one look at the Collingwood Centre and have 1,000 different ideas of things he can do. Whether he'll be able to do them though is another question. I think Kieran is he's got a growing maturity about him, and it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time. Uh, this one is probably in my mind. This is the closest to like a toss up match. But personally, from my own experiences with Kieran, I would like to see Kieran get the win here.
I probably would also go with Kieran. If it was 3 months ago, I'd probably go Sonny. Like if it was Kieran of 3 months ago, but
Yeah.
now he's on a bit of a roll, and I feel like once, like as I said, it might be Sonny's trying to do stuff to kind of get attention. Kieran's just going to kick him in. That's where I feel like what may happen.
If Kieran goes in with a plan, knows what moves he wants to use when, and doesn't waver from it, I think he can cause Sonny a lot of problems. Sonny will have to embrace that unpredictability. He'll have to make the match unpredictable. If that means taking it to the outside, uh, using the ring to its fullest, using the ropes, I think it's. I do think this one's a bit of a toss up. The only reason I'm going for Kieran McQueen is my own sentimentality towards him.
Um, yeah, I'd go Kieran as well. Just I think it's just the run he's on. As I said 3 months ago, maybe not, but the run he's on at the moment, he's shooting for the moon.
If you just get to 3-0 as well, that's impressive.
Yeah, and he's never won at the Collingwood Centre, which he mentioned himself. So that will be a big task for him to kind of get rid of that jinx as well. But we will move on to a match that you're involved in yourself. So we've got the returning team of Ryan Packer and Will Stevens.
Yeah.
Versus a new debuting team, which got christened at the last show, which is going to be Coach Mahon and his Mahon section, which I wasn't sitting in. I was just happened to be there.
You just happened to be on the edge. That was
I just
convenient, wasn't
happened
it?
to be there, and then the whole section was the Mahon section. You know, like I tweet me going, "Weren't you sitting in the Mahon section?" I went, "I just happened to be there."
And what you couldn't see there is me just sat across from the commentary table, just staring daggers at you, like you don't know Coach Mahon.
What have you done? And then a returning Ronnie G. So they were christened a tag team. Hassan Ali got them together as kind of a team. First time the teaming, obviously, versus yourself and Ryan, who I believe you've only teamed once, and that was
we've
at
only teamed once
Kamikaze, isn't it?
before.
You haven't teamed outside of Kamikaze, have you?
No,
Yeah.
no, we haven't.
So to get this in the kind of role, so there's a lot going on. So Coach obviously lost to Luke in the last show. Ronnie G lost a man like DeReese in the last show he was at. Yourself had a very tough time against Chantal Jordan of all people.
I learned a lot of things from that, but they were very painful. They were very painful lessons.
Yeah, and also we might as well go into it. She kicked you after the match. What was that about?
I think that's my own fault. I think expecting a handshake from someone I've been mugging off and I've been taking advantage of their injury for maybe 10, 15 minutes, turning around and asking for a handshake does have a bit of barefaced cheek about it. But terrible, terrible sportsmanship from Chantal Jordan. Her parents should be ashamed. Brandon Jordan should be ashamed. I'm ashamed for her.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to pick her as a winner for the main event. She's absolutely terrible.
If it makes you feel better,
person.
at least you can kind of say, if it makes you feel better, that Chantal Jordan beat you and it gave her it deserved her a chance at the title. That's what you need to look at.
Yeah,
that's
she beat me so badly that Kamikaze Pro Live are like, nope, that's it. She needs to be She needs to be put through a table by George Lydon. She needs to be tied up by Edgar Adams. She needs to be stopped. Chantal Jordan needs to be stopped. She's a menace. That being said, fair play to her.
Yeah, and then obviously Ryan's returning, and I believe he hasn't been on the show for about 6 months or so. He lost to
Roulette
Hassan
Rumble.
Ali.
He was in the Roulette Rumble
Ah,
at Kings Norton,
mm,
and that's the first time I'd seen him for a little while, and it was nice. Everyone's piling on him, and I can just come in and we can work together for a minute and realize actually myself and Ryan do have fairly decent chemistry. As soon as Coach Mahan and Ronnie G put themselves together as a tag team, I sat next to the general manager on the commentary. I want them. I want that match. I I tried emailing Hasta. I
you
tried
emailed
phoning
Hasta.
him. I looked in wheelie bins for him. I stood on the top of buildings and shouted. Nothing. I couldn't find him anywhere. So I've put the call out, and Ryan didn't hesitate. Ryan will team with me, and I'll happily team with Ryan Parrott.
Yeah, this is a big match for all of you as well. Obviously, Ronnie and Coach, it'll be bad for them if the first match they are together they do lose. And then obviously yourself and Ryan, there's been a few losses, so it'd be good to pick up a win on your side as well. So this is a big match.
It would be nice to pick up a win, but at the same time, I think myself and Ryan, because we're more experienced, I think we've learned now uh, you can offset a loss by just concentrating on the next one. You
And
don't obviously you don't want that. You want to get that win, but I I'm not letting losses destroy me like they used to.
that's good.
And I think Ryan's mature enough and he's experienced enough to do that as well. Uh, Coach and Ronnie G, I I know they're taking everything to heart at the minute. When we were at Kings Norton, Ronnie G came back through the curtain and he was fighting angry because his music was wrong. Coach Mahan, he came through the curtain. He done really well against Luke Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
He pushed a really experienced guy to his limit, but he was upset because he made a couple of mistakes. You're going to make those mistakes. Those
Especially on your
mistakes are
debut.
going
Yeah.
to happen. You need to make peace with them. And it sounds like we're complacent and we're happy with them, but me and Ryan ourselves, we've made peace with that. We know that things aren't going to be perfect. So all we're going to do is, like an orange, we're just going to try and squeeze as much juice as we can out of everything.
Yeah. Like, if I had to go, obviously you're going to pick yourselves. I would hope. But if I had to, I'd probably side with yourselves just from the experience side. I feel like they've been put together as a tag team, but they've never actually tagged. You've tagged, and you're both experienced guys anyway.
I'm not gonna rubbish them too much. I think they've as individuals, Coach is massively improved, and he's only shown so far a fraction of what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie's a similar sort of boat, but he's maybe a couple of steps along.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that being said, I think me and Ryan have got too many tricks. We've got too much experience. We are going to be able to manipulate the referee. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's probably going to be Adam Evans, so it's easy to do.
Keys.
We know. Don't make me laugh. We know how to cut the ring off. In our very first match against Kieran, McQueen, and Hassan, that was the first thing we did. We cut the
Mm-hmm.
ring in half, and we're going to be two big obstacles for whoever we decide to isolate to get past. So I think we'll have slightly too much pressure for them.
Yeah, but either way, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very good match. But talking of very good matches, So we're going to be at the Kamikaze Pro Live main event for the Kamikaze Pro Live Championship. So last show we had a match of the year contendership
Yeah.
between George Lloyd and Edgar Adams. So Kamikaze went, you know what we should do? Let's throw Chantel Jordan in the match.
I mean, how do you top that match? That match was absolutely fantastic. Uh, the the interesting thing about Edgar Adams versus George Lydon from Pro Live 37 was George was showing more attitude than I think I've ever seen him show. He When he fought Chantal at the main roster anniversary show, that was arguably a bigger match for him. It was title for
Of
title.
course, yeah.
And he didn't show that attitude there. So has something changed in George Lydon's mindset? Has he become slightly more aggressive, slightly more, dare I say, selfish, not so much concerned about the camaraderie of the gym, and he just wants to grab everything he can take? Chantal, what can I say about Chantal? She's done everything on the pro live level. She's done everything. On the main roster, she's made waves. I think she's in an awkward position where people are expecting things from her now.
Yeah.
People are expecting things from her, and to see Chantal Jordan not win a match is unusual. Edgar Adams, the performance he put in against George Lydon at 37 was absolutely incredible. For his experience level, that was absolutely fantastic. But he lost.
Yeah.
He needs to show now he can convert that to a big, big win. I mean, I know he caught Chantal in Kings Norton with a rolling prawn hold, but as it was a roll-up pin, Chantal might think it was a fluke. Maybe people watching might think it was somewhat of a fluke. Yep. So everyone's got something to prove, I think. Everyone's got something to prove.
Yeah, it's a very big match. So obviously George, I'd say this is probably one of his biggest matches he's going to have on the live shows. He obviously he fought Chantal singularly, but then you throw Edgar Adams in it, the match he had. And he said with the attitude of George, he pop-up powerbombed him for a table. That I just was in shock when I saw that. I didn't expect it at all, I'll be honest.
Well, the interesting thing about that was he knew that Edgar was injured. He knew that Edgar was injured, and he still pulled the trigger. It's not a massive secret that Chantal isn't 100%.
Oh yeah.
I knew that going into my match with her, and I don't think the schedule she's been keeping, I don't think that's going to have changed. Edgar Adams needed stitches in his back after that match, and Chantal's not 100%. So starting out, I think I'd give the advantage to George. I'd maybe suggest, from a strategic point of view, maybe Edgar and Chantal need to team up. Maybe they need to do some work to really weaken George, and then kind of turn it into a one-on-one between themselves. Because Chantal obviously feels like she can beat Edgar, but Edgar knows he can beat Chantal. It's an awkward thing with a triple threat. You don't have to be involved in the pin or the submission to lose. And that puts George Lydon at a massive disadvantage.
Yeah. It's hard to go with a winner. It's very much like, if it's a singles match, I go Champs Advantage, said with George, but because it's a triple threat, it's very much, I couldn't pick a winner in this, I'm going to be honest. It sounds weird, but throwing Chantal in the mix of it, anything could happen. If I'm going to go on a limb, I'll go George. That's just because he's the champ. That's.
If you asked me a week ago, I'd have said Edgar. Because Edgar is very, very good. Edgar's a very good wrestler. He's still really, really hungry. Whereas George Lydon's maybe getting a few more of those bigger opportunities now. Edgar is nipping at the heels. He wants them. But I think it was late last week. Edgar didn't train. Edgar didn't train on Thursday of last week. Why? Why didn't he train? He was there. He was there. He was watching. But why didn't he train? Is he feeling that shoulder too much?
Nah.
Chantal did train, so maybe Chantal's feeling a little bit better than Edgar at the minute. And I think George is saving himself for this match. So if I had to pick, earlier in the week I'd have said Edgar. I think just because she kicked me in the head, I'm going to go Chantal Jordan. I think Chantal gets the pin over Edgar. I don't think George Lydon loses, but I think he's not involved in the decision, and I think Chantal becomes Pro Live champion again.
That's a big shout. And what I've heard through the grapevine as well is that the winner of this match faces the real world champion Alex Connors down the line. That's what I've heard.
I've not heard any such thing, but I wouldn't be surprised because Carl Robinson will want to squash Alex Connors, keep him down, and get on with his own agenda.
I expect Carl getting him on the ring crew by the end of the show.
Push 2.0 and forget about the people who helped build you up.
Yeah. Carl out. Anyway, so that's the end of this preview. As usual, like and subscribe. Will's, I believe, I can't remember what we put under your name. Your Twitter handle is below, but we'll whack your Instagram and so forth in the description. The tickets were still on sale because this is coming out tonight, Will. I didn't know if I told you that already. And is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, thank you very much for having me. I've tried my hardest not to make direct eye contact with SpongeBob in the background, but there's just too many SpongeBobs and I can't do it.
Yeah, that's my partner's collection. That's just a SpongeBob collection. There's one on the wall, and yeah.
But thank you very much. I'd quite happily do this again with you.
Excellent, and we will definitely have you back on. So goodbye from me.
Bye.
Oh yeah.